NFL Week 6 has come and gone, ladies and gentlemen, and in this episode, I give you my take on some of the top storylines coming out of it. Episode 54 of N1 from the End Zone starts now.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into it, I want to take a brief second to thank you guys, my subscribers, the viewers, for being a part of N1 from the End Zone. As we continue to grow, we have now surpassed over 7,000 subs. As we continue to grow, don't forget to leave a comment on the video. I want to know your thoughts on my takes, if you agree or disagree with them. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks up in Seattle at Lumen Field for my birthday on Thursday Night Football. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was one hell of a birthday gift. Thank you, Gino, for throwing those picks. I appreciate you, brother. I know it was your birthday, but you gave me a better birthday gift. I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Gino Smith, who shares the same birthday as me. I know he wanted a victory, but he gave me one, and I appreciate that, Gino. Thank you. Thank you. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my biggest takeaway from the 49ers game is, have you guys noticed how many rookies are playing significant minutes for the 49ers this year? We got Gerardo Green, who played because Chardavius Ward got injured. We have Malik Mustafa playing a lot of minutes because of the fact that Hoof is injured. And we got Malik, I think, in the 6th round. We got Gerardo Green also, I think, in the 5th or 6th round, or might have been in the 4th. Isaac Guerendo, as soon as Jordan Mason went out, we put Isaac Guerendo in there, and he got us the game-winning fucking run at the end of the game. Pooney, Dominic Pooney, he's a fucking beast on that O-line. Y'all see him? You see the block that he gave Guerendo when he got that? I think it was like a 70 or 80-yard run. Guys, like, I know we are struggling. We are 3-3. We are number 1 in the division right now, tied for first. Unless Arizona wins this weekend, in which case we would fall to 2nd. But we're up there. Right now we're number 1 in the division. We're giving a lot of playing time to our rookies. We're gonna be fine. We're going to be fine. It is the first half of the season. We're not even at the halfway mark yet. These guys are developing. They're playing they're playing a lot of minutes. So as the season goes on, as these guys get more comfortable, they're going to be a lot better. And guys, it's just, we're going to be okay. We can take a breath. We're going to face the Chiefs. Realistically, I'm staying away from betting that game. I would love it if we could fucking pull off an upset and fucking beat the Chiefs, because we haven't beat the Chiefs in God knows how long, especially with all the injuries that they're dealing with as well. Guys, that game's going to be a great matchup, and I'm staying away from it. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose and then we win the following against Cowboys. But if we can beat the Chiefs, give them their first loss of the season, because I'm pretty sure they're going to win this week. That'd be amazing. Realistically, I thought we found a kicker with Wright. He sadly looks like he got hurt. He fucked up his shoulder. Brock played an excellent, clean game, in my opinion. I think he's definitely proven me right that he's gotten better. He's more using his legs. He's definitely more athletic. And overall, yeah, we almost blew that game because our defense wasn't able to hold up. But guys, Gerardo Green, rookie. Malik Mustafa, rookie. These guys don't just play like any position either. Like Tatum Bethune. Tatum Bethune was out there as well. He got drafted damn near in, I think, the 7th round. The only the only draft pick that didn't make it was Kingston, and we cut him. We cut him after the preseason. All the other ones, I think like 5 or 6 of our draft picks, they're all playing. They're all legitimately contributing to the team. They're not even riding the bench. They're actually out there. So it's a good time to be a Niner fan. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be better as the season goes on. As CMC comes back, we got 10 days to rest. We got this win. We're cool. Brock's, I love that guy. That guy, that's my quarterback. Brock, the crock pot Purdy, ladies and gentlemen, cooking the motherfuckers out there. Seattle, it's a tough loss for them. I'm not really going to break down Seattle because I don't really care about Seattle. I care about Geno because he's my fantasy QB, but I benched him right before the game started because I knew the Niners had his number, and I was right. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next topic. So Drake Maye had his rookie debut for the New England Patriots today, and in all honesty, he played a lot better than Jacoby Brissett. Yes, his offensive line is atrocious and put him in a lot of peculiar situations in this game against the Texans defense. Will Anderson, boy had a game. Boy had a game the entire day, eating up that offensive line by the New England Patriots. And Drake still managed to go 20 of 33 for 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Let's not forget that the Texans defense is a legitimate defense. They also had Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon both coming back to help bolster that offense a lot tremendously because I think they were struggling in the run game all season. Now that they have that dimension back, they obviously blew out the Patriots, who were starting a rookie quarterback in Drake Maye. And Drake Maye, in his rookie debut, it wasn't a win, but he also was a lot better than Jacoby Brissett has been playing all season, and honestly injected life into that New England Patriots offense. And I see him developing as the season goes on. Right now, I think the Patriots are in line to get the number 1 pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if they manage to win a couple games. And that number 1 pick goes to the Tennessee Titans, who are atrocious offensively under Will Levis, who just throws the ball up in crucial situations. But we can talk about that here in a second. Again, Drake Maye, I'm a believer in. I think the future is going to be bright for Drake Maye in New England. It's just a learning process. Again, I told you this was going to be his welcome to the NFL moment. He had a welcome to the NFL moment thanks to the Houston Texans. And I think he's going to be better for it going into week 7 of the NFL season.
Guys, have you heard? Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Dallas lost to the Detroit Lions 47-9 on Fox's Game of the Week. I believe it's time for Dallas to hit that panic button and to make some drastic moves because without Micah Parsons, without DeMarcus Lawrence, without Deron Bland, that defense is atrocious. They couldn't stop the leaking faucet when a team actually has good, talented players on the other side of the ball. Jared Goff had a game. He threw 3 touchdowns, 0 picks for 315 yards. Dak looked atrocious at home. He threw for 178 yards. He threw fucking 2 interceptions. That offensive line gave up 4 sacks. I think Dallas needs to make some very drastic changes right now at this point in not just in the season, but moving forward in the future, especially now that they paid Dak. Dak should not be the highest paid quarterback in the league at all. Hasn't done anything in the playoffs to justify that. And in the regular season, if he's not facing a team that has subpar talent, he's not that good of a quarterback. I think he's borderline a 500 quarterback when he's facing a team that's over 500 or with good talent, or that has a viable, decent quarterback. No disrespect to Justin Fields last week. Justin Fields hasn't developed to the point where we believe he is a bona fide NFL starter. There's still questions whether the Pittsburgh Steelers should stick with Justin Fields or move to Russell Wilson. So for them to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, that makes sense. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers are a 4-2 team right now because of their defense and the play of Justin Fields as of late, but Justin Fields is not a bona fide starter, and Dallas should have won that game. This game, however, this game is against another contender in the NFC with seeding implications for one, and to see if you can match up against them, even if you were going to face them again in the postseason. The gap between these two teams is huge. Where they were last year and where they are this year. Detroit had something for the Dallas Cowboys after losing last week during the regular season, where they clearly should have won. I think it was the refs that cost them the game in that game against Dallas. But this time there was no doubt. Detroit blew them out and put their stamp on the Dallas Cowboys this year. And I hate to say it, but Jerry, you either need to step aside and let somebody else come in and handle that roster, or it might be time to part ways with Mike McCarthy and put some new energy in there, because that was just an atrocious game at home. And yes, you got the bye week next week, and then you're facing us. But do you guys really think they're gonna be able to stop our run game? Even though we don't have CMC, we are still able to pound the ball. We're still a physical, offensive and defensive team. It might be a closer game than 47-9, but it's gonna be the Niners winning in the end, because that's just the caliber of roster that we have, that we are. And as long as Brock is standing up and he's healthy, I think that game should, again, just like the Detroit Lions, I said they were going to win handily. I think the Niners should beat the Dallas Cowboys handily the next time they face them. That's just my take. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have figured out what the plan for the Tennessee Titans is. And Bill Callahan, he thought he was slick. He thought he could pull the wool over our eyes. But we know what he's scheming, and he is scheming to play Will Levis for the entirety of the season, so the Tennessee Titans can have the number 1 pick in next year's draft and draft either Cam Ward or Quinn Ewers, whoever is the number 1 quarterback at that time, because Will Levis is not it. And for the life of me, after what we saw the Tennessee Titans offense do with Mason Rudolph last week, mount to come back and win that game, and win that game convincingly, win that game handedly, ladies and gentlemen. There's really no reason why they should be putting Will Levis out there. He keeps making the same mistakes every week. It's not like he's making one mistake, like a different mistake each week. He keeps doing the same mistake every week, and that's just launching the ball up there for a fucking prayer, hoping that it falls into his receiver's hands. And frankly, those balls aren't even 50-50. Those are 10% receiver balls. And what I mean by that is there's a 10% chance his receiver's going to catch it. There's a 90% chance the other team is going to be able to pick that shit up. And that's frankly what's been happening. I had a feeling that the Colts were going to win that game, especially because Joe Flacco was going to be the starter. I had a feeling that Richardson was not going to be able to play on Sunday. I just didn't want to make it one of my picks, because you never know. Frankly, I'm not surprised, and I think for the Titans, the smart route would be playing Mason Rudolph. But if they don't want to do that, continuing to play Will Levis, hopefully Bill Callahan doesn't lose his team because of the fact that they're going to be losing so many games, especially games that their defense is actually doing a phenomenal job in Tennessee to keep them in these ball games. And their offense, in my opinion, it's actually not a bad offense. Bill Callahan is calling it a great offense. He just doesn't have a good quarterback to execute that offense. I don't think Will Levis is that. And under Mason Rudolph, when he got the opportunity, they put up 30 points. Just saying. And Mason Rudolph is coming from a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers where if you take care of the ball, they won games. And they won a lot of games with Mason Rudolph when their starting quarterback was out. So Mason Rudolph can win some games, and if he's given the opportunity in Tennessee, the Titans would win some games and they'd be fine, and they probably wouldn't have a top 3 or top 4 pick, to be completely honest with you. But because they're going with the Will Levis route, they're probably going to have the number 1 or 2 pick in next year's draft, in my honest opinion.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
The Green Bay Packers faced off against the Arizona Cardinals this week and won 34-13. I don't want to talk about the game as a whole. I actually want to talk about a specific player in this situation. I want to talk about Romeo Doubs, who came back from his suspension after being suspended last week for missing practices because I believe he didn't like, it was reported that he didn't like the amount of playing time or how he was being utilized this season, especially because last year he was the number 1 receiver, the number 1 option for the Packers, and clearly this year that title and that position has gone to Jayden Reed, because when they decided to go to Jayden Reed last year, they started to win games, especially because Jayden Reed is a red zone threat and is more than capable of being a number one, in my opinion. He's proven that last year and this year. He's continued his magnificent work. Not just saying that because he's on my fantasy football team, but if you've seen his play, if you followed the trajectory of his career, the reason why Jayden Reed is getting so many targets is because he got 6 targets, he got 6 catches. Okay, Jayden Reed, in my opinion, is levels above of the other players on his team, and he's consistently proven that. Romeo Doubs, however, he was supposed to be that number one, hasn't really panned out like that. He caught 3 of his 4 targets today, and 2 of them were for touchdowns. So he must be a happy camper. I think they're going to move Romeo Doubs here at the trade deadline, especially because he's not necessarily happy in his role. Yes, yesterday he caught 2 touchdowns, and it was probably amazing for him. He was ecstatic about it because not only was he being targeted, he was targeted in moments that mattered, especially in the red zone, because everybody wants to get paid. So for Romeo Doubs, I see him being moved either this trade deadline or in the offseason, and I wouldn't be surprised if he lands somewhere, for example, like Pittsburgh or let's say the Jets, because maybe he's cheaper than a Devontae Adams. We'll see, and because he still has to prove himself. I think the Packers are very deep at the wide receiver position. I like Jayden Reed. I like Christian Watson. I also believe Tucker Kraft is a great tight end. When he's targeted, when he's utilized, he can also step up. Not to mention Bo Melton. Bo Melton, I think he would be a great third option on any team. And when you already have Christian Watson, you already have Jayden Reed, who's clearly your number one, and Bo Melton, who can, I believe, develop into being a bona fide 3 at the receiver position. Maybe you need to move off Romeo Doubs, who is clearly, from last week, not happy with the role that he's currently in with the Packers. Well, the Browns faced off against the Philadelphia Eagles in a low-scoring 20-16 game where the Eagles were able to hold on to a 4-point victory after being favored, I believe, not up to 9.5 points before the game started. And this was the first time Philadelphia had A.J. Brown back in a while. Devontae Smith also played. You had a healthy Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts also played. They were also coming off a bye, and they were only able to put up 20 points against the Cleveland Brown team, who were missing 3 defensive starters in Jordan Hicks, Grant Delpit, and Ronnie Hickman. Those guys play big roles on the Cleveland Browns defense, and frankly, they weren't able to pick them apart. Having all those weapons, they struggled to put 20 points on the board. I think Nick Sirianni is at risk of losing his job as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, especially heading into the second half of the NFL season where everybody's going to be coming together, trying to make a push for the playoffs. Usually when a team comes off a bye, they play a lot better, and they almost lost that game against the Cleveland Brown team that was missing key defensive players on that end and also key offensive players on the other end. Their offensive line is atrocious. Every game except for the game against the Las Vegas Raiders and the game that they won against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've given up over 5 sacks. They cannot protect Deshaun Watson, and having a bad offensive line also negates the running game. Last year, their offensive line was a lot better. Yes, Deshaun Watson got hurt, but they had a run game that they could rely on, plus their defense was playing at a lights out. That's why they were able to be as good as they were, and Joe Flacco also contributed to that when he finally came in. This year, their defense is missing certain players, but they're still playing at a high level. Their offensive line is so bad that they can't protect their quarterback, which is making him look atrocious. I know he might be holding on to the ball too long at times, but there are glimpses where he moves around in the pocket and makes good throws, in my personal opinion. Maybe the days of Texans Deshaun Watson is gone, but that offensive line is so bad that they can't even run the ball this year behind Jerome Ford, who, in my opinion, was able to have not the same level of production Nick Chubb had, but something comparable to it. Even with Nick Chubb coming back, I don't think that'll be enough to help bolster the Cleveland Browns. And this is going to be a season where the Browns, by the end of it, are going to hopefully have a higher draft pick and be able to draft a quarterback and retain the services of Kevin Stefanski. I don't think Stefanski's job should be on the line. He's done a great job with other quarterbacks and essentially the same talent. You have to give him a quarterback. You have to give him an offensive line that's going to be able to do something, at least whether it be pass protecting or run blocking. They can't do either or, in my personal opinion, and that is why the Cleveland Browns this year are just atrocious.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
So, ladies and gentlemen, week 6 of the NFL season concluded with Monday night's matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. The Bills were able to hold on to a 23-20 victory against the Jets, who last week fired head coach Robert Saleh, and this week felt like they needed this game to be able to pilot the ship and essentially just calm people down because they think that the Jets are right now reeling, especially after firing their head coach. Really quick on the Buffalo Bills, Tyler Bass, their kicker, scares me, and not in the good way. His kicks, yes, they seem explosive, but I don't know if it was the wind or what may have been going on in New York, but those kicks, man, I felt very shaky about them. He missed an extra point attempt really badly earlier, and then the extra points that he did hit after that, I just felt like they were just too close for comfort, in my opinion. Yes, he made it, but I don't know, man. I think kicking matters, especially in crucial game time situations. I repeat, the GOATs, Peyton Manning, Adam Vinatieri, when he won the Super Bowl with the Colts. I forget who his kicker was with the Broncos. But Tom Brady, Vinatieri, Gostowski, both, I believe, are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Harrison Buckner, I believe, is going to be in the Hall of Fame because of the Super Bowl victories and because he plays with Patrick Mahomes and he's clutch when it matters. Just saying, kickers matter, and Tyler Bass, I don't believe he's at that caliber, but that's just my opinion. Now, the Jets' offense looked better from the get-go with Dowings calling the plays. They were able to drive the ball. Yes, they settled for a field goal, but it looked from the beginning that it was better than it had been all season long. At the end, they were only able to score 20 points, and Buffalo Bills, again, dominate that division, own that division, were able to hold on to a 23-20 victory. Their kicker, Zerline, missed, I think, 2 field goals that hit the goalposts in this game, so that's special teams. When special teams meets you, and then Mike Williams, I think the Jets need to find a trade partner to move Mike Williams because I don't think he's going to see the ball in New York at all anymore after this game. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman mentioned it during the broadcast that he was still trying to gain Aaron Rodgers' confidence. And when they mentioned that, the very next moment, they targeted him on that play and he dropped the ball. Then later on in the game, when it was a gotta have a drive. When you're driving up the field, you just need to get in field goal range to be able to tie the game. He slips, he falls, he can't come back, and the ball gets intercepted, and Rodgers was pissed, and I would have been pissed too. Like, I was yelling at my TV. I felt bad for Aaron because I genuinely thought he played better. He played better in this game that he had, I believe, all season long. And this game was for first place. Now they're 2 games out of first against the Buffalo Bills, and who knows what may happen. The Bills now have the tiebreaker. The Bills are now 3-0 in that division, and if the Jets were able to win, they would have been tied 2-1. They would have been number one in the division, and Woody Johnson would have looked like a genius for moving off of Robert Saleh. That didn't happen. The defense, in my opinion, looked like it missed Robert Saleh at times. Couldn't necessarily stop the run. Couldn't necessarily stop Josh Allen. Last year, the first week of the season, yeah, they won, and then they lost later on. But I don't know, man. The offense looked better by demoting Nathaniel Hackett, but the defense now, we'll see if Ulrich can steer the ship moving into the remainder of the season. We shall see. But hopefully the Jets and Aaron Rodgers can get things together and have a stronger second half of the season, because this game, it was within their grasp. There were moments in this game where they could have won. They could have taken the lead. They could have stamped that, okay, we're on the right path now, but they did it, and now they're 2-4. And Robert Saleh's not there anymore. And maybe this is a blessing in disguise for Robert Saleh. Just saying, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. Share this with your friends, families, and partners. Make some money with my picks. Listen to my sports takes, or just watch for some positivity. Always remember, desire is power, and if you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you for watching another episode of N1 from the End Zone. I love and appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more.